What if the Flash, the fastest man alive, ran straight into the darkest city in the DC universe, Gotham, and came back as Batman? Sounds like a wild fan fiction, right? Well, it actually happened, and it's one of the most insane, high-stakes stories DC has ever told. This is the tale of The Button, a crossover event that brought together two of DC's greatest heroes in a way no one saw coming. And it all started with a single mysterious object, a smiley-faced button, stained with blood, found embedded in the wall of the Batcave. This wasn't just any button. It was the iconic symbol of the comedian from Watchmen. Its sudden appearance in the DC universe sent shock waves through the superhero community, but no one was more intrigued than Batman. He and the Flash decided to team up to investigate this cosmic anomaly. Their plan was simple. Use the Flash's cosmic treadmill to trace the button's unique radiation signature back to its source. Simple, right? What could possibly go wrong? As it turns out, everything. The moment Flash started running on the treadmill, things went haywire. Instead of a smooth journey through the Speed Force, he was violently thrown through time and space. He got a horrifying glimpse of the past, a hand reaching out, a familiar voice screaming his name before being unceremoniously dumped somewhere else. When Barry Allen picked himself up, he wasn't in Central City anymore. He was standing in the Batcave. But it wasn't his asterisk Batcave. This one was older, grittier, and littered with empty liquor bottles. And then he saw him. An older, grizzled Thomas Wayne, still wearing the mantle of the Bat. Barry had crashed into the Flashpoint timeline, a twisted reality he himself had accidentally created years ago. In this world, it was a young Bruce Wayne who was murdered in Crime Alley, and his heartbroken father Thomas became a brutal, gun-wielding Batman. The two heroes stood face to face, a ghost from the past meeting a man from a future that shouldn't exist. Thomas was, understandably, shocked. The last he knew, Barry was trying to fix the timeline. Seeing him again meant something had gone terribly wrong. As they talked, a terrifying realization dawned on them. The Flashpoint timeline was collapsing. The combined forces of the warring Amazonians and Atlanteans were tearing this reality apart. And it was only a matter of seconds before it was completely erased from existence. Just as reality began to shatter around them, Barry heard a familiar voice calling his name. It was his Bruce pulling him back through the Speed Force. Thomas Wayne, seeing this as his only chance to send a message to the son he lost, made a split-second decision. He grabbed Barry and gave him a final, desperate plea. Tell my son. Don't be Batman. Find happiness. Let the Batman die with me. Then he pushed Barry back into the temporal stream, just as the white light of oblivion consumed the Flashpoint universe. Barry Allen came crashing back onto the cosmic treadmill, the mission a catastrophic failure. But he hadn't come back alone. Lying on the floor of the Batcave was a letter from a father in another reality to a son he never got to see grow up. Bruce read the letter, and for the first time in a long time, the stoic Dark Knight shed a tear. But the mystery of the button was far from over. Their failed experiment had attracted unwanted attention. A powerful blue energy signature appeared, and with it, a figure from the past, Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash. Thawne, who had been seemingly killed before, was back, and he was more powerful than ever. He boasted that he had seen the face of God, the entity behind the button, the one who was manipulating their reality. He claimed this entity had resurrected him and given him his powers back. Full of arrogance, Thawne snatched the button and declared he would go meet this God himself. He teleported away in a flash of blue light, confident in his own power. Seconds later, he reappeared, screaming in agony. Half of his body was disintegrated, charred to the bone. With his dying breath, he whispered, "God, I saw God," before collapsing into a pile of ash. Batman and the Flash were left staring in horror. Whatever was out there, whatever this entity was, it was powerful enough to obliterate the Reverse Flash with a thought. Their investigation had just become infinitely more dangerous. But they weren't deterred. They decided to try one more time to fix the cosmic treadmill and follow the button's trail. This time their journey was smoother, but where they ended up was even more confusing. They weren't in another timeline, but floating in the space between realities. And then they saw it. a giant blue hand reaching through the fabric of the multiverse, piecing together moments in time like a cosmic watchmaker. It was Dr. Manhattan from the Watchmen universe. He was the god Thawne had seen. He was the one who had been manipulating the DC timeline, stealing 10 years of history, relationships, and memories from our heroes. Why? To see what would happen. It was all a grand experiment to him. As Batman in the Flash stared in disbelief, Dr. Manhattan simply reached out, and with a flick of his wrist, sent them hurtling back to their own timeline. But the story doesn't end there. As Bruce and Barry returned, a parallel story was unfolding. The mysterious button, it turned out, wasn't just a calling card, it was a key. A key that could bridge universes. And while our heroes were gone, someone else came through. Jay Garrick, the Golden Age Flash, who had been trapped in the Speed Force for years, finally broke free. His return was a beacon of hope, a sign that the stolen history could be restored. Now, let's get back to that original mind-bending question. How did the Flash end up wearing Batman's cowl? This part of the story comes from a different, even darker corner of the multiverse. During the Dark Knight's Metal event, the DC universe was invaded by twisted, evil versions of Batman from the dark multiverse, a realm where nightmares become reality. Each of these Dark Knights represented one of Bruce Wayne's deepest fears. One of these nightmares was a world where Bruce Wayne, in his grief, tried to steal the Speed Force from Barry Allen to go back in time and save his parents. The experiment went horribly wrong. Instead of just gaining speed, their bodies merged, creating a monstrous fusion. This new being had Bruce Wayne's brilliant but broken mind and Barry Allen's incredible speed. He called himself the Red Death. He was a Batman who moved so fast he could kill his entire rogues gallery in the blink of an eye. He was a tyrant, a Batman whose grief and obsession had consumed him, turning him into the very thing he fought against. But there was another, even more tragic version of a Bat-Flash hybrid. This one was named Bryce Wayne, a Batwoman from a world where her lover, Sylvester Cowl, was murdered. In her rage, she hunted down and killed every metahuman on her planet, believing them to be a threat. She then surgically altered her own body, giving herself powers to become the ultimate predator of her world. She became the Drowned, a twisted version of Aquaman. After conquering her world's oceans, her planet was targeted for destruction. But just before it collapsed, she was recruited by a being known as the Batman Who Laughs. Wait, I think I have my Dark Batman mixed up. Let me correct that. The Batman who merged with the Flash was the Red Death. The story of the Drowned is a different, but equally terrifying, tale. Let's focus back on the Red Death. This Bruce Wayne didn't just merge with Barry, he essentially absorbed him. The Barry Allen of that world became a screaming consciousness trapped inside the Red Death's mind, forced to watch as his body was used for horrific acts. This dark Batman eventually rode his twisted Batmobile cosmic treadmill hybrid into the main DC universe to wreak havoc. So we have two different incredible stories. One where the Flash runs into Batman's past, and one where a dark version of Batman steals the Flash's future. It shows just how intertwined their legacies are. The Button was a mystery that teased a cosmic threat, reintroducing the Watchmen and setting the stage for the massive Doomsday Clock event. It was about legacy, loss, and the hope that even in the darkest of times, a father's love can transcend reality itself. On the other hand, the Red Death was a cautionary tale. It showed what happens when Batman's grief and control issues are pushed to their absolute limit. Combined with the godlike power of the Speed Force, there's a terrifying look at what our greatest hero could become if he ever crossed that final line. Both stories push the boundaries of what a comic book can be, exploring deep philosophical questions while delivering thrilling action. They prove that in the DC universe, even something as simple as a button or as fast as a lightning bolt can lead to a reality-shattering adventure. So which story is more compelling? The emotional journey of the Button or the nightmarish horror of the Red Death? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the cosmic corners of the DC universe, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.